Hello everyone. In the following sessions, we discuss on the important topics of CNS or Central Nervous System.
Today, the topic of discussion is one of the main symptoms of CNS, namely headache.
Pain in the head may arise from different structures. So which are they? The cranial vault or the intracranial venous sinuses. The pain can arise from intracranial arteries. It can also arise from meninges. Sometimes headache arises from trigeminal, glossopharyngeal, vagal and the first three cervical nerves. It can also arise from structures like eye, ear and nasal cavity.
Now, we come to the classification of headache. Headache can be divided into 6 main types. 1. A referred headache. 2. A neuralgic headache. 3. A headache due to meningeal irritation. 4. A vascular headache. 5. Headache due to traction on intracranial structures. And also the 6th type, a psychogenic headache.
So, what is a referred headache? This includes pain arising from eyes, ears, nose, air sinuses, teeth, cervical spine and other structures. So, if a person has a frontal headache, it may suggest an iridocyclitis or glaucoma. If there is a disease of nasal and paranasal sinus, it causes pain over the frontal and malar regions. A cervical spondylosis may lead to an occipital headache. So, also, if there is a cold stimulus in the soft palate, it may lead to a referred headache known as ice cream headache.
Now, we come to another type of headache known as neuralgic headache. There can be different types of neuralgias, namely trigeminal neuralgia, postherpetic neuralgia, or temporomandibular neuralgia, which is because of loss of teeth or ill-fitting dentures.
Now, coming to headache due to meningeal irritation. Headache is almost always a symptom of meningitis and encephalitis. It can also be associated with fever, photophobia, and neck stiffness. Headache of subarachnoid hemorrhage is often an abrupt onset, sometimes precipitated by exertion and felt at particular regions depending on the vessel involved. The patient is almost afebrile. Many of them become unconscious. At times, incontinence may develop. It is important to recognize extremely severe headache of subarachnoid hemorrhage, which demands immediate referral to a center with neurosurgical intervention.
Now coming to vascular headache. This type of headache is a result of dilatation of intracranial or extracranial vessels. The pain is of throbbing nature and it tends to aggravate with head movement.
Now we come to a very important topic called migraine.
Migraine is one of the most common form of vascular headache. It comes from the word megrim, meaning hemicranial. So migraine is characterized by episodic throbbing hemicranial headache. It begins in early adulthood or maybe childhood. And when we come to know about the mechanism of migraine, we see that there is an initial reduction in the cerebral blood flow, which is either localized or generalized. This is followed by an increase in blood flow. It is also seen that certain chemicals like histamine, serotonin, norepinephrine, etc. increases during attacks. Also, there is an increase in platelet aggregability. This may account for the strokes that sometimes complicate a migraine. Headache has been attributed to excessive pulsation of extracranial arteries and probably intracranial ones also.
Now coming to the classification of migraine. What are the types of migraine? Migraine is mainly divided into 2 types. Classic migraine or migraine with aura and migraine without aura or common migraine. These are the 2 types. Migraine with aura, here the episode begins with a prominent neurological symptom or aura, such as a visual disturbance like dazzling zigzag lines, spreading scotoma, homonymous hemianopia, field defects, or rarely total blindness. There can also be sensory disturbances affecting one half of the body. There can be disturbances of speech and hemiparesis. These neurological symptoms last for about 15 to 30 minutes and usually merge into a hemicranial generalized throbbing headache with nausea and vomiting, all of which may even last for about 1 to 2 days. In majority of cases, the duration is much shorter. Many complain of photophobia and phonophobia during the attacks. This is migraine with aura or classic migraine.
Migraine without aura or common migraine, here there is no preceding neurological symptoms. So, the diagnosis of both classic and common types of migraine mainly occurs from history. Long duration of illness, onset during childhood, positive family history, and relief with ergot derivatives are in favor of migraine. So, what is the cause and prognosis? In majority of patients, migraine tends to be chronic with periods of exacerbation and remission. With increasing age, the attacks tends to come down. Complications may occur rarely in some cases. These include cerebrovascular accidents, ocular and other cranial nerve palsies.
Now, let's come to the treatment of migraine. All known precipitating factors such as emotional tension, exposure to cold, foods such as cheese, chocolates, etc. should be avoided. Also, hypoglycemia, especially in diabetes patients. This is a known precipitating factor and it should be avoided by proper timing of the meals. The medicine we can give to make the episode symptom free is maybe analgesics like aspirin. The dose is about 900 milligrams. Or we can also give paracetamol of a dose of 0.5 to 1 gram at suitable intervals. Other NSAIDs like ibuprofen, naproxen and mefenamic acid are also good alternatives. If there is nausea and vomiting, we can give metoclopramide 10 mg or domperidone 30 mg. We can also give ergotamine, which is a non-selective 5-hydroxytryptamine antagonist, in a dose of 1 mg. In any case, the weekly dose should not exceed 12 mg. These ergotamine preparations are contraindicated in certain cases, like pregnancy, patients with ischemic heart disease, hypertension, peripheral occlusive vascular disease, etc. The adverse effects include nausea, muscle cramps, peripheral vasoconstriction, etc. Now, coming to selective serotonin receptor modifying drugs we can use in migraine. Example is sumatriptan. The dose is 50 to 100 mg to be taken soon after the onset of migraine. For the same attack, second dose should not be given. Parenteral preparations of sumatriptan is available for subcutaneous injection in a dose of 6 milligrams. And it can be given as a second dose in subsequent attacks to a total dose of about 12 milligrams in 24 hours. Other analogues, newer analogues, are zolmitriptan, naratriptan, rizatriptan, and almatriptan. We can also give certain drugs as prophylaxis like propranolol 10 to 40 milligrams a day, BID or TID, calcium channel blockers, etc. In asthmatic subjects, propranolol may have to be replaced by a more selective beta-adrenergic blocker.
Now we come to another main topic known as cluster headache. It is also called histamine headache or Horton syndrome. Here men are more affected than women, about a ratio of 4:1. The headache starts within 3 hours of falling asleep. It is of non-throbbing nature, it is unilateral and it is orbital in location. It is also associated with lacrimation, nasal obstruction, rhinorrhea, sometimes meiosis, ptosis and flushing, and even edema of cheeks. This may recur over the years and it is brought about by stress, prolonged strain, overwork, emotional disturbances, etc. Alcohol, nitroglycerin, tyramine containing foods, etc. may precipitate this kind of headache. The main underlying problem is probably hypothalamus. We diagnose it clinically. The treatment of such headache is by antihistamine drugs. We also give oxygen inhalation at a rate of 7 liters per minute. Sumatriptan is given in doses of 6 mg by subcutaneous injection. We also give ergot preparations about 1 to 2 mg and 1% lidocaine solution on the side of the headache helps to arrest the headache by giving nasal instillation. We can prevent the recurrence of such headache by giving verapamil, about 240 to 320 mg dose, or we can also give lithium in a 600 to 1500 mg per day dose.
Yet another type of headache is known as post-concussion headache. It is common following motor vehicle collisions and other head trauma. There can be severe injury or loss of consciousness. It can also occur without these presenting symptoms. Other symptoms include headache, dizziness, vertigo, impaired memory, poor concentration, and irritability. It typically remits after several weeks to months. Neurological examination and neuroimaging studies may be normal. It's not a functional disorder, and the cause is unknown, and treatment is usually not satisfactory.
Another type of headache is post-lumbar puncture headache. Following a lumbar puncture, if there is excessive leak of CSF through the puncture site, the CSF pressure falls, and this leads to traction of intracranial structures. This produces post-lumbar puncture headache. This can be avoided by doing lumbar puncture with a small bore needle, withdrawing only small quantities of CSF, that is less than 2 milliliter, and administering drugs like caffeine, which is about 50 to 100 milligrams, or theophylline, that is 100 milligrams orally. Creation of an epidural blood patch may be necessary if headache is persistent. Some headaches come under the broad classification of indomethacin responsive headaches. These include paroxysmal hemicrania, hemicrania continua, primary stabbing headache, primary cough headache, and primary exertional headache. So these are the headaches that come under indomethacin responsive headaches. So if we give indomethacin about 25 milligram 2 to 3 times daily, the headache resolves.
Some other headaches include psychogenic headache, coital headache, and other miscellaneous headaches, which are not associated with structural lesions and are characterized by severe stabbing pains lasting for very brief periods, probably seconds, commonly felt in the distribution of the first division of the trigeminal nerve. They respond to reassurance. Indomethacin can also be effective. Late onset headache and recurrent change in pattern in chronic headaches are indications for brain imaging studies.
Now, giving the snippet of information today, let's familiarize ourselves with the term papillitis necroticans ulcerans. Here, a fleshy mass of necrotic papillae is passed in the urine because of UTI in 5th stage of diabetes. This is known as papillitis necroticans ulcerans.
We are hereby coming to an end of today's session.
Don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe for more videos like this. Thank you.